Hello, hello. How is everyone? How's everyone on this fabulous, what is it, Sunday? Hello. You're good? Good. What's everybody doing today other than watching me live? You're amazing. I'm amazing. Thank you for being you and providing us with so much content. Thank you so much, Christina. That was very nice. Thank you. I appreciate that you appreciate. I appreciate that you watch the content. So thank you very much. How was everyone? There's my child, Brittany. She's my spiritual daughter. Just saying. This is the plan, okay? My boyfriend got called in for an emergency call last night. So he worked all night long. He is on his way home. When he comes home, I'm going to stay on here live with you guys until he comes home. If he takes the nap that I am assuming he's going to take, which is understandable, he's been up since 9:30 p.m. last evening, then I'm going to come back live, but I'm going to hop over and do it on YouTube, okay? Just saying. Just so we know what the plan is if I get off here, okay? Brett, it's not that bad. I mean, it's been lightly so. It's been really windy at my place. But where he works was shitty. That's why he ended up getting called in, you know, because you know what comes with bad weather, right? Usually. Well, we don't have to manifest that. That's not what I meant, but we know what happens on the roads. So, especially on a weekend, you know what I'm saying. Alex is going to be tired. Yes, if he's not already. So that's the other thing. If I keep looking, it's because I'm looking out my kitchen window to see if he's home. All right. You guys don't give a shit, right? I just wanted you to know why I keep looking that way. I got Poop next to me. She's chilling. She couldn't be bothered. Can you, can you, oh, Helen, my bestie. Hello, bestie badge. How are you? How are you, gorgeous? Just saying. Okay, wait. Can you manifest your marriage back? Revise separation? Yeah. Absolutely. There's really nothing. Oh, Helen, I love you. Helen spoils me friggin' everywhere. There's nothing that I would tell you, no, you can't manifest. Literally nothing. Even like taboo topics. You can manifest anything and everything. It's just getting yourself to believe you are the version of self. That's the other one that spoils me everywhere. Limitless Queen Bitch. Sorry. Before I forget it, both of you, I just recorded for my other YouTube channel. You guys spoil me too much. So I recorded myself opening the packages. Just saying. You guys are too good to me. All right. So back to the manifesting marriage. Yes. Try not to get yourself stuck in logical thinking. Don't get me wrong. I understand logical thinking is how we kind of, ooh, I love those kind. Logical thinking is how we maneuver ourselves, right, around the 3D reality. But when it comes to manifesting, you don't need the logic. Because where we get lost in logic is trying to figure out how something can manifest. You know, just the innocent thought of how ain't the problem. It's when we are stuck on trying to figure out how. Because what usually happens is someone gets into that mindset of, I can't figure out how this will ever manifest. So therefore, I don't think it will manifest. We don't want to get stuck in that kind of thinking because it's just simply not true. And you probably will never. Yes, I love those. All right. You probably will never, ever be able to figure out the how, right? So maybe you're experiencing the person you were married to, husband or wife or whatever, really adamantly showing up as if they don't want to come back, like they're not interested. Maybe there's even a 3P. Maybe they're with someone else right now. Don't get lost in that logic. Your job as a conscious manifester from this point on is to start telling yourself, or visualizing or scripting, whatever technique you like. You're going to start telling yourself that you are your new self. Now, I'm kind of summarizing answering your question, right? Because I don't know all your details, but you obviously want to take a look at, why did the divorce even happen, right? Not judge yourself, but why did it happen? What were my limiting beliefs that manifested? What did I believe about myself? Who was I identifying as? So for example, a common limited belief that I see around scenarios like that is not good enough. I don't feel good enough. And you didn't have to have the conscious thought, I don't feel good enough. Whatever thought implies you really don't think you're enough, right? And keep it real. Us humans, we are all our own self-critics. We are, right? We beat ourselves up. Stupid, but we do it. So whatever you may have been having as inner chatter about yourself, the fear of abandonment, the fear of not being a priority, which is connected to not good enough, in my opinion. You're clearly going to decide that that's no longer true for you, that is not who you are. You are now the version of yourself that knows, believes, trusts that you are more than enough. Even if secretly right now in this moment you do not believe that at all, that does not matter. Just start choosing it. Start telling yourself that's who you are. I find it easier, and this is what I do to manifest. And it works flawlessly for me, so I know it can work flawlessly for anybody else. I made a list, and I labeled my list New Self. I don't care if you call your list New Self. You don't have to. But make a list and really define what New Self means to you. New Self meant to me that I was the version of myself that believed, trusted, was in the knowing that I am more than enough. Yeah, and I'm a powerful bitch. Look at those eyes. Just saying. I'm more than enough. I'm the version of me that confidently knows that I've always been chosen. I've always been a priority. I've always been the girl who got the guy that she was interested in. That's who I am now. No, that was not who I was most of my life. But I'm leaving that version of me behind. You guys are killing me. I love you guys. We're leaving that version of ourselves behind, the limited version of ourselves, right? So whatever it is about you, whatever limiting belief that you had, that you feel manifested, the separation, the divorce, whatnot, you are now the opposite of that. You are now the version of yourself who knows that they are their limitless self, because you really are limitless. Who you really are at your core is unconditional love, which equates to pure, unadulterated consciousness, aka universe, aka God, higher power, source energy, moonbeams. You guys, I love you guys. I love it. Thank you very much. Okay, wait a minute here. So we don't have everybody and their mother trying to join or get me to join their live. Like I don't show in this live. Decline. Sorry, Hamed. Okay. I need to wipe my nose. I'm going to do it off camera. I'm going to come over here. Be right back. And hopefully I don't have snots coming out of my nose. Just saying. Okay. So I totally lost my train of thought. The whole thing about manifestation is breaking the habit of being who you thought you were, who you believed you were. All of us are really identifying as a version of ourselves every single moment of your day. Every day when you're awake, you are identifying as a version of yourself. even if you're not consciously thinking that exact thought, in your mind is a constant conversation going on. There is constant inner chatter. Again, you might not even be aware of it, but think about it for a minute. All day long, as you do mundane tasks around your house, as you go to work, even while you're sitting and have a conversation with somebody else, in here is still conversation going on between you and you. That is you identifying as a version of yourself. Whatever is going on in here. It's a habit. And what you're doing is breaking the habit of being that limited version of yourself and knowing and believing and trusting. And it's okay if you secretly don't believe any of that. You will eventually. But knowing, believing, and trusting that you are the version of you that is living the life, having whatever it is you're manifesting. You're beginning to identify. What's up, Bryn? Thank you. I saw somebody else's name come up and I didn't see who it was, but thank you for the gifts. So yeah, you're going to start identifying as a new being, a new version of self, and your world will change. It has to. It's not an option, and there are no exceptions to it. If you are identifying as a version of yourself, your 3D reality will validate it. Any version of yourself, it will be validated. Doesn't always feel like that's happening, but it is. More rampages, please. Yes! Oh, that's happening. Don't you worry about that. And thank you. I'm assuming that means you liked my other rampage. So yeah, more are coming. And I have people asking like for specific types of rampages. Feel free to do that. You can leave it in any of my comment sections on any video. Okay? I really do read all my comments. I just don't respond to them all because I can't. I'm a busy bitch. But I read them all. So go ahead. Give me specific requests. Having moved... Whoa, I almost lost you. Hold on. Where'd you go? Where'd it go? There it is. Having movement not enough for Tuesday group, even though things are unfolding perfectly, I keep saying. Y'all know I'm serious when I take the glasses off. What do you mean the movement you're having is not enough to share in the Tuesday group? Is that what you mean by that? That you think whatever movement you're getting isn't enough? Isn't good enough? There is no movement ever that would be called not enough. Ever. All movement is good movement. All movement. That tells me, now I'm not yelling at you, I'm just pointing out something, okay? Don't you ever come to one of my channel memberships and believe that what wonderful movement you are receiving isn't enough. I don't care if you share it or not. It's your personal decision to get on the mic, on video, and share. You don't have to share if you don't want to. But don't you dare think that it's not enough. That, to me, is the same kind of thinking as someone afraid to ask me a question because they think their question is stupid. I don't like that. There are no stupid questions. You have to remember, people are finding me and my channel all different places in their journey. Some people found manifestation yesterday, so they're really brand new. And I'm assuming some of them out there feel too afraid to ask questions because they're afraid it's too stupid. No. That's the whole point of me getting in the videos, of me making content, is to answer fucking questions. Don't ever feel like that. I know that's easy for me to say, but don't feel like that. Okay? So again, your movement is wonderful no matter what it is. Okay? That tells me that perhaps there is a belief somewhere where we don't feel good enough. And I know you're probably thinking, bitch, why are you making that huge of a correlation over one little comment? Because that's a... Whenever we are feeling not enough about anything, not good enough about anything, it's because we're in a habit of feeling that way in more than just that one little thing. It's there. So you work on that. You don't have to share your movement, but don't ever think that it's not enough for the group, okay? I really mean that. It feels like everything leads back to the belief of not being enough. I think that is the most common belief, limited belief, in my opinion, as well. And yeah, I do think that a lot of the individual beliefs that we hear about are all connected, or back down, if you keep whittling away at it, back down to not enough, not good enough. I agree with you. Thanks, Bren. Thanks. I'm surprised Poop didn't bark. She barks every time the dryer goes off. How can I manifest getting closer and convos being less dry with SP? What do you believe about yourself, Jade? Do you believe you're the version of yourself that isn't close with your SP and all the conversations are dry? I'm being a little sarcastic, but let me say it like this. What is the belief or the fear going on in your mind that you think SP is showing up not so interested? What's the belief? And whatever that is, decide you don't have that anymore. That's not who you are. See what I mean? And are you equating it, like dry conversations, are you equating that to he doesn't like me or she doesn't like me? He or she doesn't like me. He or she's not that interested because the conversations are dry. We're not that close. That must mean something's wrong. That must mean this isn't unfolding. That might mean I'm not going to get my manifestation. What are you really believing? Try to remember that whenever we're looking at the 3D and what we're experiencing in the 3D, because I'm going to classify that as the middle, because I'm assuming, you're not really manifesting more interesting conversation and being close to your person. You're probably manifesting the relationship, right? Now, don't get me wrong. Innocently, there's nothing wrong with wanting to have great conversations with your person. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm saying, what are you deeming that middle stuff to your actual full manifestation? What are you equating that as? If we don't have better conversations, if we aren't closer, well, then we can't get together. We can't be together. That must mean it's not working. That must mean if I don't have these two things, that the manifestation isn't happening. You see how those pesky little shit in the middle type of thoughts tell a bigger story? And this is how people get stuck, because they're so focused on fixing what's going on in the middle. I got to fix this. I got to make our conversations better. And by the way, I'm just making an example out of you because I know other people are manifesting similar things and probably have the same damn question. I'm not picking on you, okay? Instead, my advice is to begin identifying as the version of you who is in the loving, fulfilling, committed relationship that you're probably manifesting. Put the focus on the end. Now, don't get me wrong. Nothing wrong with manifesting in steps. But when we're constantly needling at the middle, that's where we get lost. That's where we get stuck. Because we're applying logic to the 3D again. If I don't have this, it won't bring the end. Or I feel too resistive. I feel too resistive of thinking of us at the end because we don't even have this yet. So you're identifying as not having. See what I mean? So go to the end. Focus on the relationship. That's my advice. It's your reality. You can do whatever you want, but that's what I would do. I was someone that fucked around with that kind of stuff on my own SP journey. And it sucked. And it is something that I would go back and change, meaning I should have just went to the end. I would script both. I would script focusing on those middle things. I would script for the end, but my focus was always on the current 3D, the middle, and assuming it wasn't working. And all I manifested was hot and cold fucking behavior. And it sucked. Had I got my attention off of that shit and put it in the end, it probably would have come in a hell of a lot faster. That's what I've learned from that fuckery. Okay? Is it okay to move out if SP kicks me out in the 3D and still manifest marriage? Yes, of course. What really is happening in the 3D, even though logically and literally it probably feels like this matters, whatever is happening in your current actual 3D with your specific person doesn't fucking matter. Sincerely, it doesn't matter. But again, logically and literally, I know it feels like that. And I'm sure it feels uncomfortable, especially that scenario, right? Moving out when you're trying to manifest the opposite. It won't stop your manifestation. It cannot be any type of obstacle to it. Focus on who you are being, right? Who you're choosing to be. You'll end up with your outcome. Kim, can you talk about when you manifested a BBL, another SP? I take it that if others are coming, SP2. Yes, I was in the midst of a solo vacation, which sucked. If you're new, solo vacation on my channel is just a nicer way of saying break up. Fucking break up. So yeah, I was living that beautiful 3D life. But that is where I found, and really finally clicked with states of consciousness. So it had its good things. I'm being sarcastic. Thank God, in a sense, though. Thank God, because that's what woke me the hell up. So yeah, I manifested in a BBL. You can call it an SP2 if you want. I don't give that BBL the title of SP2 because truthfully, right away, I knew it didn't feel good. So, and this is not to discourage other people from, dating more than one person. That's not what this is. But when he showed up, yes, was he showing up doing the things that I wanted SP to do? Yes. So was it a BBL to me? 100%. But it served as a constant reminder based off of who I was being at the time, though. He, unfortunately, was nothing but a reminder to me. I struggled with it. That he wasn't who I wanted. Every time he showed up doing the things that I really wanted SP to do, and SP was clearly not doing it, it upset me. There were times where this poor dude was being so nice to me, and I would be secretly trying to hold in my tears and hope the tears didn't, come through our conversation, because I don't know about you, my voice cracks when I'm crying. My whole voice changes when I cry. And I was trying so hard to hide it from him because I did feel bad because he wasn't doing anything wrong. It's not his fault that I don't want him. But it was a constant reminder. I'm not with SP. I don't have who I want. Then the fearful thoughts. What if I can never manifest him again? What if I'm wrong? What if manifestation isn't real? What if I'm wasting my time? And now, what do you think happened in my 3D when I would think those kind of thoughts? Granted, obviously, this was the state I was in, victim state, but nothing but content that if he wanted to, he would. Maybe he's just not that into you. Some things aren't meant to be. You gotta let people go. Maybe the universe will send you someone better. Nothing but triggering, limited, shitty content kept showing up. Oh my God. It was awful. It's miserable. Thankfully, I decided to go back and reread some Neville Goddard, and finally states of consciousness made sense to me. And I started putting the focus on my state. But So if any of you are experiencing, while manifesting a specific person, another person coming into your 3D, desiring you and showing up, really doing all the things that you want your real SP to do, as much as I know sometimes that feels good and sometimes that don't. It didn't feel good to me. It is a reflection. And it's a good reflection because it is a BBL to your actual SP manifestation. But if that BBL reminds you too much that you don't have your specific person, number one, you don't got to keep entertaining that BBL. You don't got to do anything with that BBL, but try to remind yourself what's happening, right? Don't be me and stay in the victim state and be triggered constantly over it. Try to remind yourself, this is a good thing. My 3D is validating who I'm choosing to be, or my affirmations are working. My scripting, my visuals, everything's working. That's why this person's showing up. I'm not stuck with this person. It's okay. It just means my reality is changing. The new reality is coming in, right? I didn't think like that. I stayed triggered, and all it did was keep me in the victim state longer. And thankfully, I eventually got my ass out of that. States is your I am, and you can change that through affirmations, but how do you stay in that? Well, your I am isn't necessarily a state. Your I am is your full-on consciousness. It's unconditional love. Your I am is God or universe, whatever you particularly believe in. That is your I am. So I am is always, always there, always with you. From your I amness, you choose a version of yourself. You choose that. But I am is always there. Just want to make that clear. But yes, can you change your state? Which is just another way of saying version of self. Can you change that within affirmations? Absolutely. All manifestation techniques or the purpose they serve is to get you to change your state or change your version of self. All techniques. Just saying. So yeah, you can be affirming you are your new self, or you are in, whatever particular state you want to be in. Yes. Also ask yourself the questions. What would my life be like if I had the full manifestation? If I completely believed and trusted that I was my new self, what do I think I would feel like? What do I think my 3D would look like? What would a day in the life of me in the new state, of me living, having all my manifestations, what would life look like? How would I feel every day being that new self? I'm not saying that you have to feel something every single day or every single time you tell yourself your new self. I'm not saying that. The feeling that Neville Goddard was referring to is the feeling of knowing. Knowing it is done. Knowing your manifestation is already done because creation's finished. But I found that when you allow yourself to get into your imagination, right? Because your imagination is the powerhouse. Asking yourself those kind of questions gets you to start thinking from new self, which makes it easier to return to new self. It's a tool. So ask yourself those questions. And when you ask yourself, like, what if type of questions, your mind, your brain's mission is to answer that question, right? So you'll notice new lovely thoughts start coming in. So, but yes, you can change your state like that. How can I manifest a friend asking to be friends again? See yourself as being friends with that person again. So it's identifying as being the version of you that has a lovely relationship with that person. I tend to I don't want to say affirm, but when I'm thinking of who I'm being as a new self, if I'm currently manifesting something specific, I tend to talk to myself, affirm, but I feel like it's an inner conversation with my higher self, just saying. I tend to do it in either past tense or present tense. I just find it easier. But that doesn't mean you have to do it in past or present. Future tense is fine too. But I would, if I were you, I would be identifying or telling yourself that you are the version of self that has a lovely relationship with that person. You're so thankful that you have such an amazing relationship with your friend. That's what you do. Every single thing anyone out there is manifesting. The answer to everything is be new self. Identify as the self that has what you're manifesting. Even if 3D looks the complete damn opposite of that, by you telling yourself that you are your new self, you are allowing yourself to break the habit of where your awareness is. So for example, because you're pure unadulterated consciousness, you are living this 3D experience because of what you've been placing in your awareness. So if we'll say universe or the absolute, the ether, where we're staring in consciousness. Let's say it was like a room that's in the shape of a square, because that's going to make it easier for me. You've been staring at the same corner there your whole life. And that's why you've experienced what you've experienced in your 3D world up until this moment. You've been placing those eyeballs through consciousness there, this other corner over here that I'm pointing this way, okay? When you're manifesting, the idea is to move those eyeballs to the other side of the room and place in your awareness you being the you that has your desires. That's all we're really doing. That's what techniques are getting you to do. Move your awareness so you're focusing somewhere else. Because it's a habit, you might get kicked out of it and you might go right back to looking at the other side of the room. And that's why we return to our decision to be yourself. That is how I word it on my channel. Return to your decision just means going back to the state of you having what you want or going back to your version of self. So the moment that you realize that you're back to thinking shitty thoughts, you're feeling like shit, you're thinking nothing's going to work, and you're staring at the wrong place, right? Time to move the eyeballs back to the other side of the room, the other place. You're placing your new self, your new reality in your awareness. That's what starts bringing the change out in the 3D. But it's not even really the 3D that's technically changing. It's you're leaving that 3D reality and hopping to the timeline that's already created, already exists, up there in that square boxed room. You're hopping to the timeline where you are the version of self that has the manifestation. That's the version of you that believes, knows, confidently has no limiting beliefs around what you're manifesting. That's really what we're doing in manifestation. We're placing our awareness on the other side of the room. But the beautiful thing is that room is really, really big. It's infinite. So there's all different places you can stick your awareness on, which that's what it means when we say, there are infinite versions of you, infinite realities. There's lots of fucking choices to make. Lots of choices. We're never stuck, right? And the answer is always, who are you aware of being? What side of the room are you looking on or looking at? Okay? May you do affirmations about long-distance relationships? Are you asking me if you can actually do affirmations yes. Or are you asking me, what would you affirm? Are you asking me, what would you affirm? What would I affirm about a long-distance relationship? I know me, and this is my advice if you're doing this. I wouldn't even label it a long-distance relationship anymore. Today, if I were you, is the last day you ever call it a long distance relationship. Because when we're labeling it something like that, you're anchoring yourself to that reality. I'm in a long distance relationship. What we have is a long distance relationship. We're in a long distance relationship. It's so innocent. I know it is. But do you see how you're anchoring yourself to that reality? You're labeling it. I'm in a long distance relationship. I don't like being in a long distance relationship. When is this long distance relationship going to end? An anchor to a reality you don't want to be in. So let's just start calling it what we want it to be. It's a loving, fulfilling, committed relationship. Or it's a loving, fulfilling, committed marriage. It's a loving, fulfilling, committed partnership. And we live together, if that's what you want, I'm saying. That's who I am. I am the version of self that's in a loving, fulfilling, committed relationship. And I live with my person. I love living with my person. I have become the version of myself that actually lives with their boyfriend or their girlfriend or whatever. See what I mean? So that's what I would do. So you can affirm that you are that self. This is why I say define to yourself who your new self is. What reality you're choosing to be in. Define it. Define what it would feel like to be with your person so it's not long distance anymore. See what I mean? Hopefully that helped. The queen always appears just when I need her. Oh, Priya, I love you. In your opinion, what is the most effective technique to get yourself into the state? Sincerely. This is going to sound simplistic. Sincerely. For me, the easiest thing is I just tell myself I'm there. I just say it or think it. I am new self. I am the version of me that. When I first started doing that, I think I've shared this a million times, but that's okay if you didn't hear me. In September of 2022, it was the worst fucking month. I feel like it was the worst month of my life. That might be a bit of an exaggeration. It did suck. Tits. Big tits. And I was very much how I felt. I was very much stuck in a state, and it was a victim state. And I was stuck there, and I was panicking. I was very, very panicked over it because all my little tips and tricks that I had used before that to get out of a particular state were not working. They were not working, and I was very panicked. So that's where this whole, I'm just going to tell myself I'm new self. Fuck it. That's what I'm going to do. That's where that came from. And it has changed my life for what it's worth. And I know how simplistic it sounds, which I get asked, is that really enough? Do I really think, is that enough for me to get what I want? Thank you very much for everything. Thank you. Brendan T, I saw your name pop up. Thank you very much. And Bryn, and everyone, anybody I've missed. Yes, it is enough because things only matter. What I saw names, Nessa, and I don't know how to say your name because they're letters I don't recognize, but thank you. If you're new to my channel, it's like a thing. Me knowing how to say shit is always an issue. I got to stop identifying as that. But anyway, thank you very much for the gifts. So anyways, when I'm choosing to be new self, I'm identifying as that, meaning I'm telling myself that's who I am. It's because I believe that when I tell myself that's enough and that works, right? It's what I believe about that. When we're manifesting, it doesn't matter what anybody else's, Andre, thank you. Doesn't matter what anybody else's opinion is about manifestation. I get really sassy about this. Snarky. It doesn't matter if somebody else in another fucking video doesn't think it's enough. It doesn't matter. That's their reality. They are the boss of their reality. You are the boss of your reality. I am the boss of mine. And because who we really are, I cannot stress this enough, because of who we really are, which is pure, unadulterated consciousness, aka unconditional love, God, universe, higher power, all the words, because that's who you really are, you are really a limitless, flawless being. What you believe about yourself is nothing but conditioning, beliefs, conditioning, okay? So when it comes to manifestation, why you experience things in your 3D reality is because of your own individual beliefs and conditioning, okay? So if you believe that telling yourself that you are your new self is not enough, well, then it won't be enough because that's your belief. And your 3D has to validate you. But if you're like me and you don't want to do a lot of shit to manifest and you want it to be simple, well, then you're going to create the belief that saying I am new self is enough. Now, this is why I say take the time and define to yourself who new self is. Because you're the boss and you get to be any version of yourself you want. So clearly we're going to pick the self that has whatever the hell we want. And on top of it, we're aware that we're limitless. That's new self. New self doesn't have the baggage of the shitty experiences you may or may not have experienced in your life. Thank you very much, Rebecca. Thank you to everyone I've not said, because I'm feeling guilty about that. You don't have to carry the baggage from previous life experiences. Thank you, Batch. We've been conditioned to believe that it's not that easy to get over traumas. It's not that easy. Got to do work. And no offense to anybody who wants to do what the 3D says work. You can do whatever you want. I will still love you. I'm saying, if you're like me, and I'm assuming if you're watching me, you're somewhat of the same mindset. No, we can make a new decision. We can make a new decision. You've been in the habit of making a decision, of believing in your limits and conditions. We're changing that. And if you see, for me, that list of who new self is was my little security blanket of the fear of what if this isn't enough? What if this isn't enough? Right? I'm human. Of course I questioned it. I made that list because I knew enough about manifestation that I wouldn't be able to make my new self list if all of what I'm writing down wasn't already in here. I just haven't been believing it. I've been believing I was a little more limited than what I actually, knew. See what I'm saying? So I made the list to shut up that fear, which didn't take really, honestly, more than a few days for me to realize, what am I fucking afraid of? I'm making a fucking decision. I am new self. That's it. And it did come from anger, keeping it real. That my new way of manifesting came from anger. It came from anger because I was in a frantic, shitty victim state and hearing content from all different manifestation creators, some of them that I even loved, having their spin on how to do it was stressing me out and triggering me, which is not their fault. That's why I don't bother saying what the creators or who the creators were, because it ain't their fault. I was in a victim state. But it was triggering the hell out of me. It was making me feel like I was doing everything wrong. And remember what I said, all my little tips and tricks to get myself out of a particular state were not working. So I was already in the victim state of believing I can't get out of this state. What I know, how I get out of a state isn't working. What if I've been wrong this whole time? See how ugly and terrible victim states are? They are so deceiving. But I was very scared. And out of frustration and anger and fear of hearing everybody else's opinions and the way they say you have to manifest, you have to do it this way or that way, or it won't work, was, nope. That boisterous side of me came alive again, thank God. And I said, no, fuck all of this and fuck all of them. I'm done. I can't do another minute of this. Anger, conviction. I can't do another minute of this. I am so sick of feeling this way. I am so tired of not seeing what I want in my 3D. I am so sick of this. I want to be free of it all. So I'm not going to listen to anyone. I'm not going to do what anybody else says. I'm just going to start telling myself every day that I am new self. And that's where that came from. Literally sitting in this exact spot. Just saying, thank you. My God. Limitless Queen Bitch. You are, my God, spoiling me. Thank you so much. All of you. Thank you. So anyway, yeah, initially I got nervous. What if that ain't enough? What if that ain't enough? So I made my list, right? I made my list. Who is new self? What does new self's life look like? How does she feel? The big thing for me is as soon as I would wake up in the morning, I was triggered as hell. Every day, anxiety. The first thing that would come in my mind is how much I hated my 3D. Anxiety, fear. I didn't want that anymore. I was so sick of feeling down. So that was something on my list. I love being alive. I love my life. I love waking up in the morning because I'm waking up to a life that I love. I can't believe how amazing my life is. And then I started putting things in there from all the other areas of my life, meaning, my money life, career life, relationship with my child life. I only have one kid. Relationship with the rest of my family life. Yes, I do put my child on his own little pedestal because he's my baby. The relationship with SP and how he's showing up. All the categories, health, the weight loss journey, everything went on my list. And I mean what I say. I just started telling myself I'm new self. It felt the most, or I would say it felt the best, but I did start my day with it. As soon as I would wake up in the morning, that was the first thing I said to myself. I am my new self. I mean, my feet weren't even on the ground. I would say it as soon as I literally woke up. And then it felt the best, in my opinion. It felt the best to me when I was working out. Because that's my free time. And there were days where I would continue, I would list some of the things that meant I am new self because it felt good, not because I felt like I had to. Meaning I would start my workout with, I am new self. I love being new self. I can't believe how quickly my 3D changed. I can't believe how fast my 3D has shown me evidence or has validated me that I am my new self. I can't believe how easy it was for me to get there. Stuff like that, because it felt good. But I didn't do that every day. And I didn't always feel good while telling myself that I was new self. There were definitely a few days where I would say, that's it. I am my new self. That my mind instantly gave me the thought, no, you're not. Oh, no, you're not. You don't have any evidence that that's going to be enough, Kim. You have no 3D evidence to prove that that is enough. What are you going to do if the time keeps going by, Kim? What's going to be the next technique you're going to, follow? My mind is just as sassy as the lips. There were definitely days where I was nervous, doubting, even questioning, my ability all in all manifestation. Like, what if I've been wrong this whole time? Oh my God, I have so many videos of myself. What if I've been wrong? What if I've been teaching people wrong? Oh my God, what have I done? Oh my God. Our mind is heaven and hell. Yeah, the hell. Ugh. But I stuck with it because that's what I would tell anybody else to do. Don't give up. Don't give up. Go back to your decision. So I did. And my 3D did change. I did get evidence. I did get validated. My entire life changed in every category. And I have not looked back, other than when I share it with you guys. I'm telling you, it's all about what you believe about yourself. It's all about what you believe. Sometimes we're not even aware of where we're placing our awareness. Just remember, there's always an inner chatter going on. There's always an inner conversation with yourself happening. So for example, if you're someone who you're not seeing exactly what you want in the 3D, well, first of all, the first thing isn't to start panicking that you're doing something wrong. We don't want to do that. And we don't want to get in the habit of constantly checking the 3D. Okay? That's a big one. But if you're adamant that you feel like, I should have seen something by now, because I hear that a lot. I should have seen something by now. Okay. When you're done doing your manifestation techniques, the rest of your damn day, where does your mind go? You're going to start paying attention to that. You're going to start being what you're supposed to be being anyway, the observer. You're going to start being the observer of your mind, and you're going to take the accountability of every time you find yourself in your mind, even if it's the autopilot, right? We're being the observers. We're not being the basic bitch humans right now. Every time your mind goes in the direction of you not having what you want, any opposing thoughts, you're going to make note of them. You're going to make note. Even if all you're doing to make that note is putting a tick mark every time you catch yourself going into shitfucker land. That's what I call it on my channel, shitfucker land. I don't mean you're going to start this, thought flipping, this panicked thought flipping. That's not what I mean. You're being the observer. You're allowing your mind to run free like it was doing anyway because you weren't paying attention. And making note of how many fucking times you catch yourself going to shitfucker land. You are probably going to surprise yourself. It's going to be a lot more than you probably thought. And you're going to change that. You're going to change that by deciding you are the self that finds it easy to be new self, or finds it easy to get in and out of states. You find it easy. I do want to say one thing that's very important. Don't beat yourself up for how many times you catch yourself. Okay? We shift in and out of states all day long. We do that even when the manifestation is actually here. We shift in and out all day long. And if you don't believe me, pay attention to where your mind goes for a 24-hour period. You're going to notice that without any help of your own, I'll just make up this example, like starting the day, believing that you are your new self and not caring about your 3D at all. You're not worried about anything. You know you're going to have your manifestation. And maybe 2 hours, 3 hours later, the doubt is creeping in and you actually feel physically different. And you don't know why your mood is sour all of a sudden. Or if not sour, maybe just down a little bit, right? And you're not perceiving the 3D as hopeful as you were earlier this morning. And then maybe a few hours later, you're back on your game again. You're feeling good again. The way you're perceiving your 3D is a little bit different. You're feeling a little more hopeful again. Do you see how you go in and out all the time? We're doing it all day long. Whether you mean to or not, you are. So that's why we do not beat ourselves up when we find ourselves in shitfucker land. We just redirect. We just remind ourselves, whoa, whoa, whoa. That kind of thinking is old self thinking. That's not who I am. Nope, that's not who I am. It doesn't matter that thought came up. It doesn't matter. I'm going to let that float right on by because that's not who I am anymore. I have nothing to worry about. I don't have to be afraid of my thoughts. Thoughts are nothing but little vehicles to other realities. So thanks, higher self, for the opportunity to a shitty state, but I'm not going to go there. Thank you. This is who I am now. New self. Easy, light, very light, not overbearing, overwhelmed, stressed out over our thoughts. Light, easygoing, letting it go by. See what I mean? Hope that makes sense. Your videos are like an energy booster for the mind. You're like the mom with comforting words. Well, thank thank you so much. And I'm not shocked that you've left such an amazing comment having the name Kim. Kim loves horror movies, 45. I'm not surprised, right? It's a Kim thing. We can't help ourselves but be amazing, right? Just saying. How to manifest SP to move in. We are happy. Spending nights trying not to bring it up. Ooh, so you're living movement. Love it. See yourself as being the version of yourself that lives with your SP. Who are you identifying as right now? Are you identifying as, we're having a good time, but he doesn't live with me, or she doesn't live with me? No, you are the version of yourself that is in a loving, fulfilling, committed relationship, and you live with your SP. That's who you are now. That's simple. I am new self. New self lives with her person or his person. It's really that easy. That's how I got him to get here. That's how I got his ass to move in, okay? I am new self. That's who I am. I feel like I'm in a FaceTime call with my bestie. Oh my God, I love it. Thank you so much, bestie. Oh yeah. How do you navigate holidays, birthdays, when you're on a solo vacation while living in the end? Asking myself who I'm being when I'm getting upset that I'm not currently spending those with them. See what I mean? Who am I being? Why am I getting upset? I have a lifetime of holidays to spend with my person. I have a lifetime, right? This doesn't matter. This is a manifestation of my old self. That's not who I am anymore. It's not who I am anymore. I don't have to feel bad about this. I know my 3D is unfolding. I know because I'm choosing to be the version of myself that has my manifestation. So if I'm doing that, and that means to me that I am the version of myself that's in a loving, fulfilling, committed relationship with my person, if I know that, that's my decision every day, then I know that what's happening out in my 3D is the unfolding to it. Even if it feels like uncomfortable in my 3D, I know it's still leading me to my outcome. So that's who I am. And if I'm really feeling hurt because I'm missing them, we still got to ask ourselves who we're being, right? Because in those moments where we're hurting, we're not doing anything wrong. Our feelings are always valid. However, when we're doing that, it's because we're believing in separation. We're believing that we are separate from our person. And I get it. Literally, logically, their physical body feels kind of separate from us. I know that. But you're still connected to them through consciousness. So you still have access to your person's mind, per se, right? So start having an inner conversation with them. Start having an inner conversation. That's what I did during the solo vacations, for what it's worth. I went to inner conversations. Have your SP in the inner conversation say to you what you really need them to hear. That sound right? Need them to say what you need them to say. So in other words, I'm going to spend all my holidays with you, baby. We've got the rest of our lives together. I want to be manifested in your reality just as much as you want me, baby. We're together forever, whatever feels good. See what I'm saying? But in those moments, if you're really bothered, you got to ask yourself, who am I being right now, and what am I believing in more? Am I believing in the 3D more, or am I remembering that I'm pure unadulterated consciousness? And that's how I'm connected to my SP. So what's more powerful? Consciousness. I'm believing in a 3D reality more? No, that's old self. That's not who I am. Yes, that's what they're always saying to us. Damn right, Rhonda. Damn right. Can you manifest when in no contact? Yes. 100%. Contact in the 3D. Don't get me wrong, I get it. It feels good, but it's not required to manifest. There's plenty of people, plenty, who have successfully manifested their person and had been in no contact. Just saying. That happens all the time. I know I need to put up more success stories. I know I do. The good thing is that I have been saving them. I have them all. But I need to make the videos. I know I do. I will. But yeah, it happens all the time. You're not in no contact. Anybody claiming to be in no contact isn't in no contact. That's impossible. Totally impossible. It might feel like it's quiet in the 3D. It's quiet, but you're not in no contact. No one is. You are always ever connected to you, your person, and anybody else that you choose, but really it's everyone. You're connected through consciousness. You are never in no contact. So, I get it. It's not the physical 3D, but it will be. It has to be. If you're choosing to be new self, which I'm assuming is the self that has the loving, fulfilling, committed relationship with your person, you will have it. So talk to them through consciousness. Have them talk to you, just like I just said with the inner conversations. But you're not really in no contact. Ever. It just feels that way. But that's the damn illusion of the conditioning in our 3D. Is we believe that we are fully separate beings from our specific person, but we're not. Everyone is connected to everyone else. Always. So talk to your person. Usually I get asked the next question, like, what do they hear? Well, they whatever they hear specifically, they believe is their own thoughts. So it's not like they're thinking, oh my God, she must be tapping into my mind. She's tapping into my mind. No, he or she thinks it's their own damn thought. And it feels like a natural, normal thought to them. And from my personal experience, it is instant. It's instant. My poor boyfriend, oh my God, he knows that he's the guinea pig, per se. Because every time that he ends up, being the evidence of what I'm thinking or one of my inner conversations, I make him, all right, what time did you have that thought? What time did you think about it? What were you doing when you thought about it? I ask him all the time because I want the proof. Don't we all? So far, it's like instant that they get it, but they do think it's their own thought. Just saying. I can't help it, Rhonda. It's so easy when he's here, you know what I mean? But you bet your ass I test it while he's at work. Oh yeah, and it's instant. Instant. Just, you know what? I'm going to tell you right now. Most people make the mistake of just because that your person doesn't take instant 3D action, that doesn't mean that they're not getting the thought. Look at it from the perspective of anytime anybody else pops into your mind, do you instantly pick up your phone and start fucking dialing or texting? No, you all know. You all know, tell the truth. You do not instantly take a 3D action when someone pops into your mind. You don't. I don't believe you. If anybody says yes, they do, I do not believe you. You know what I'm saying? But, yeah. So far, from my personal experience, it is instant. Then how do we get them to take it? Yvonne, repetition of your decision to be your new self. Repetition. Think of it like as in bombarding their mind. Like haunting their mind, like being a ghost to their mind. Repetition. They will. But don't waver or try not to. Everyone wavers. I'm teasing you. But don't be at 1 minute deciding to be your new self who has your relationship and then immediately after, no, I don't. He's never coming back. They don't love me. We're in no contact. What if they forget about me? Return to your decision. Kim, I watch your videos constantly. You keep me in the state like hell. Amazing. Thank you, Miles. That was very nice. Thank you. Yvonne, was that you? Was all those shitty thoughts what you're thinking today? Stop it. Stop it. Are you logically interpreting your 3D reality? Stop it. How many times I got to say logic isn't our friend unless we're benefiting from it? Then it can be our friend. But most of the time, logic is not our friend. Delusion is. Okay? Delusion is our bestie. Go back to your decision that you are near yourself and you are knowing that that 3D is unfolding to whatever it is you're manifesting or whoever it is you're manifesting. The 3D is unfolding. Everything you're experiencing, even the stupid shit. Oh my God, this is one of those moments where it's like a good thing to be in our channel membership, especially the Tuesday group. But actually, I think this happened in the Friday group this week. I don't remember which group, but it was the Friday group. The orchestration of the unfolding. I like saying the word orchestration. There's just something about it. The orchestration of your manifestation. Everyone is fucking connected. Everyone is. Even the stupid, what feels like unimportant shit that you do. Okay? Thank you. Even the stupid shit you do is somehow, some way connected to the unfolding of your manifestation. Everything. Literally. For example, I'm making this up, but for example, you, okay, or someone asking me a question. You think it's all about you in that moment, about that question. But somehow, some way, there was somebody else in this live stream who was too afraid to ask that question, and you just happen to have exact circumstances that they do, same details, same everything, but they were supposed to be at work today, but they didn't feel good. They stayed home from work to show up to this live stream. That what seems like unimportant decision to not go to work. This is not for all of you to not go to work. That's not what I'm saying. That decision to stay home instead and get on their phone instead. And you, person who asked the question, had to make some kind of decision. And it could have been you were going to watch somebody else's TikTok, but I'm the first thing that popped up on your page. So I don't know, maybe I was saying something funny in the middle of it. So you decided to wait and just check me out. You made that flippant, unimportant decision to watch. So both people show up and watch. But the person who's staying home from work is too sick and too, we'll say insecure to ask me a question. And then you think, oh my God, this bitch is hilarious. Let me ask her a fucking question. You ask the question and you have no idea that you played out not played out. Jesus, Kim, you were a part of the orchestration for that other person. Every one of us is fucking connected. Every one of us. There are no coincidences. But we get examples of that all the damn time in the groups, in the channel memberships. All the time. Because we're all huddled together in a Zoom meeting. Right? It's awesome. I get so excited over it. Or how many times have you been thinking about something? Something's been on your mind. And then like the next fucking day, someone at work or someone at school or a family member randomly just brings it up to you. Talks about it. You think that's just coincidences? They're not coincidences. There are no coincidences. And every single one of us, all of us together right now watching this live stream, is somehow, some way connected in the orchestration for everyone's manifestation. Even though you might not know one single person here, you're a part of the unfolding. I love it. I don't even want SP like that, but something keeps drawing me back. What do you mean you don't want them like that? What does that mean? Does that mean I don't even really want them that bad, but I'm drawn to them? Why is that? Why are you drawn to them? What is it about them that you must have? There's got to be a little bit of something. It's got to be something if you keep being drawn to them. But remember, no one else can manifest in your own specific reality, right? We are all individuals. We're in charge of our own little reality bubble. Nobody else is manifesting in your reality. Although I will tell you, I don't see the harm in thinking that somebody is. I mean, I guess I could see where it would feel good to think that your specific person's manifesting you too. Whatever. But secretly in your reality bubble, nobody else is manifesting. They got their own bubble. We're just intermingling with versions of peeps. Whenever I have a memory about the old story, I just tell myself it was a bad dream and never happened. Okay. I just met someone with a long-term girlfriend. I almost feel guilty for trying to manifest him. Why? Why do you feel guilty? Why do you feel guilty? See, I'm trying not to be a little sassy bitch. Is it because morally you feel bad for that? And I'm not taking a shit on your own personal morals. That's not what I'm saying. But I see people give other people a hard time over what they're manifesting based off that person's morals. And while, hey, I get it, you know, you sound like a very nice person thinking of others. That was very nice of you. But you're thinking small. And so are the morality police judges out there. They're thinking small. They're thinking literally and logically. They're not thinking, hi, there's infinite fucking versions of people. There's infinite versions, infinite realities. You are hurting no one through manifestation. You are not hurting anyone. You are not destroying families and breaking hearts because you want to manifest an SP. Okay, you are not. So let me relieve you of that thinking, please. You're not. The long-term girlfriend can have her sexy, sassy, saucy SP in her specific reality. You are not taking him away from her, per se. You are selecting the version of that person that wants you. So in essence, when you really, really think bigger, take that step back and think bigger, you're leaving the reality where they are together and hopping to the reality where you and him are together, or you and her are together, whatever. See what I'm saying? Think bigger. Don't get me wrong. Morals, they're a good thing. I don't mean it in a negative way per se. Like, we shouldn't all run out and be hurting people. Those things still matter from my perspective. But, like hurting physically, you know what I'm saying? But telling yourself, I shouldn't manifest this because I don't want to take someone away from someone. That I understand. It's what a sweet, sweet perspective. And that shows me you have a beautiful heart. But you're thinking small. You're thinking very small. Think big. Choose the version that wants you. So you can hop on out of that reality and get to the one where you can have who you want. Okay? Yes, thank you for saying that, Brittany. Spamming the chat isn't gonna get your question answered any quicker. Just saying. What about narcissists? Okay. Not everybody likes this opinion. And it's an opinion, but I do believe it's real, and because I believe it, that's the evidence, or that's what my 3D validates me with, right? Just like any other label, you got to believe in the label for it to be in your reality. You've got to believe that that person is limited to that. So let's say, for example, I don't know, there's a coworker who you believe is a narcissist. Now, I believe that you probably have had an experience where they have shown symptoms of that. So you believe that. You believe that that's who they are. So that's the belief about them. And you're probably thinking, you've heard the medical community throw that label out there. So they must exist because they say so. So it's your belief. So you keep experiencing evidence. So that is very real. And that's who that person is. And that person keeps showing up with those traits. But if you're like me, and I don't like labels per se, because of that reason, you have to believe it for it to be true. Now, the reason why I say is some people don't like that because some people really like their titles. And they're very convicted with their titles. But what they're not remembering is what you believe to be true will be true for you in your reality. And that can feel feel frightening for some people. Because it does make you start to question a lot of the things that you have just believed because somebody said so in the 3D. So if you wish that someone wasn't one anymore, then as Neville Goddard would say is see them through a visualization or whatever. Or you can affirm it or script it. You see that person free from those symptoms, free from that. I think, and this is because I believe this, so I experience this, that the world today is very quick to label people and to throw them in a group. I don't like that. And because I don't like it and I focus on it, I see it a lot. Think bigger. Think bigger. We are only ever intermingling with versions of people. So we have choice. We just don't, or at least not everyone is aware of that choice. So they exist if you believe they exist. I get a lot of questions on my specific person, is a narcissist. They even have like they're certified narcissist. They've been officially diagnosed with it. Yep. So do you still want to manifest them? Then we got to let that go. We got to decide that's not who they are. And if that feels way too resistive because of all the 3D evidence you've experienced, so in that respect, then start saying you're noticing signs or evidence that they're healing. They're becoming free of the symptoms. They're getting better and better, right? They're becoming free of it. But I know there's a lot of TikTok accounts that really live all about narcissistic shit. And it's unfortunate because they're trapping themselves in these unnecessary labels. Don't start. Be a good girl. My neighbor's dog is barking, so we don't want her to. Yes, these labels need to go. 100%. 100%. Hi, Kim. Have you seen people change the narcissist person they were manifesting? Yes. Sure have. Meaning like you're asking success stories? Yes. And that's why I just brought up if it feels too resistive to automatically say they're not one anymore. Because that was the person I thought of. for the example of having all the evidence say that they are. I suggested to her that she start saying that she's starting to see evidence that her person is healed. They are getting better and better. They're seeing less and less of any of those traits. This is who I am. I am the version of myself in a relationship with, this person, and this is who they are. This is how they show up. They reflect me. See what I'm saying? They're reflecting my beliefs. And I'm seeing more and more evidence that they are free from that. They are free. They are healing. So she started small, meaning she started with seeing, healing, signs of healing. And as she, was a little more comfortable, because it didn't instantly change in her 3D, right? If anything, if I'm remembering correctly, I think that there was a big blow up shortly after that. And of course she panicked, like all of us do when our 3D is looking tits up. She panicked. She got a hold of me. I'm like, no. Look at this as the old reality collapsing, new reality coming in. Old reality collapsing, new one coming in. Return to who you want to be. You're seeing more and more evidence of healing. And I'd say within like a week or two, she noticed that things were changing. And once she became more, we'll say, with the repetition of deciding that she is her new self, that she became more comfortable with, no longer saying it that he was healing, but that he completely was not one. He has been undiagnosed. I forgot her perfect wording, just for what it's worth. But yeah, and so far so good. 3D, including the people in it, are only ever reflecting our own individual beliefs. So if she believes that he doesn't have that title anymore and doesn't behave with the symptoms or the traits of that title, then that has to be her experience. And think about it. How many people do you know? Take that strong topic out of for a second. How many people do you know? Let's say a coworker where you can't fucking stand that coworker, but a whole bunch of other people love them. You don't understand why? Well, because they are experiencing a different version of them than you are. I know it sounds crazy. Okay, I know how this all sounds, but that's what's happening. They're reflecting you. And that doesn't mean if they're an asshole that you're an asshole. It just means they're reflecting your beliefs. That's all. Okay? But yeah, so far so good. So far it's still working. And she's manifesting something new, so I still talk to her. So at this point, he's free from that. Oh, okay. Just like I told you, SB's home. So I'm going to let y'all go. Okay? If he takes the nap that I'm assuming he's going to nap, if you're just new, just walked in. If he takes his nap, I'm going to come back live later, but on YouTube. Okay? Thank you all so much for being here. I appreciate you, and I hope you have a fabulous rest of your Sunday. Okay? And I'll try to save this and upload it to YouTube too.